I have my glasses on today. It's special. It's
It
like a
is
holiday
today's
special.
Boxer Day, isn't it? It's the day after Christmas, Boxer Day. Is that what they
I
call
think
that?
so, but I don't know exactly what that even means, to tell you the truth. We're live, by the way. I probably should have.
We are.
I should tell you when that happens instead of just like talking, like just in case you say something you don't want to go out to the internet. But yeah, I think today is Boxing Day, although admittedly I'm not quite sure what that is. What's up, everybody? How are you? Happy
Hungover. A lot of folks are probably hungover.
Are you hungover? I'm not hungover. I feel good.
I'm not. No.
Okay.
I don't really celebrate Christmas, so there's that.
I feel like you might be. I feel like you might be kind of. You're just like, oh, I bet a lot of people are hungover. I mean, I'm not, but I bet a lot of people are. Okay, you're not, Tina. All right. My big shebang is Christmas Eve. So Christmas morning I was a little slow, but Christmas Eve is my big. The Italian seven fish feast tradition is what I acknowledge. It has something to do with I don't remember all like the religious details. I just like it's just sort of like a cultural thing for me at this point. But yeah, it has some kind of.
I've actually experienced that with you one time.
You have, yes, you have. Yeah. It's a fun time. We mix it up as the years have gone by. We've mixed it up. We've added and subtracted But the scallop basil fried rice a la Ron and the smoked salmon and peas a la Ron.
I remember the smoked salmon and peas, and it was fantastic.
Thank you very much. Those are two of the big. Well, I'll make it for you sometime. It's a fun time. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Status Coup, by the way. I am Ron Placone.
I'm Tina-Desiree Berg. It is the day after Christmas, Monday, the 26th. So today what we thought we would do is, since it's a kind of a hiatus week for most things, slow news day, slow news week, what we wanted to do is be a little bit more interactive with the audience this week. So we'd like to open up the...
We're going to have a Q&A.
There you go.
Why are you drawing this out? You are hungover. Tina lied, everybody. She's totally hungover. It took her like 45 minutes to say we're going to have a Q&A. She's like, we're going to do a thing where we're going to I don't know. How many whiskeys did I have? We're having a Q&A. Tina's hanging in there. Ray, I feel like if we answer your question, everybody will hate both of us because both Tina and myself live in Los Angeles. So Ray wants to know, how cold did LA get? I don't think we should tell. Okay. Everyone's going to hate us. Everyone's going to hate us.
Warm yesterday. I'm wearing a t-shirt today.
Why did you tell them?
We went from 39 degrees last week where I was freezing to death to it was 82 degrees yesterday.
I was at the beach the past 3 days and I feel like we shouldn't have answered, but now everybody hates us. And that's, for some reason, I know there's something behind it, but everyone got this ridiculous cold front. So that made the opposite happen in Southern California. So we had this amazing, it gets a lot hotter where Tina is than where I am. Right. So if you have to hate one of us, you should hate me the most because I live in the South Bay where you always get the sea breeze. So it doesn't get hot like it does in the more valley-ish area where Tina's at.
I'm actually not in the valley.
You're not in the valley, but you're. I mean, I didn't want to I'm not gonna give out your address.
I am in the vicinity of downtownish Silver Lake area.
Yes, you are. Yeah. You're like East Side kind of.
East Side. I am East Side
kind of. And so it gets a lot hotter there than it does where I'm at in the South Bay. So
it's probably degrees cooler in San Pedro then. Yeah.
We're in the 70s. It's yes, it is very pleasant. We went to the beach. It's cold. My entire family, and I include the Italian side, Italian side, it was cold everywhere. A couple of my cousins were in Rome. It was 20 degrees there. Some of them were up in the mountains.
Wow, 20 degrees?
Yeah. Yeah. So we were the only people experiencing warm weather. And we we have a little thread with everybody in it. And, my wife and I were just posting pictures of us at the beach. Hey, sorry about your cold. We don't get a white Christmas. We don't get that. So I don't know if that's your thing. We don't do that here, but That's
warm even for us. I think 82 is not the norm, especially because last week was really cold, and now we have a rain front coming in here, so it's supposed to drop.
which we need.
Yeah, we need
that. We need that ridiculous. Might knock the internet out. Who knows? But because sometimes when it rains in LA, everybody just freaks out and everything goes haywire. But we need it. We desperately need it. So I hope that happens. I hope we get and smash the like buttons. Smash the like button for rain. For rain in Los Angeles. And seriously, I hope everyone is staying warm out there. I know that it got ridiculous, dangerous cold in a lot of places. So
yeah.
Hope everyone's staying safe. And I apologize for letting you know what the weather was like in Los Angeles. I didn't want to tell you, but Ray wanted to know, and it's a Q&A. So now you all know. We're sorry. We're sorry. We can talk about cost of living if you guys want to feel better.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. How do we facilitate the call-in procedures? If people want to call in, how does this work?
Well, I think Colin's working on that. And if he can finagle that, we'll do it. If not, that'll be something coming in 2023. It's the day after Christmas, folks. We're doing the best we can, but that is something that is being worked on. In the meantime, y'all, if you could give us a super chat with your question, that'd be super chat it up. Let us know what's on your mind. It can be about, I know we have a few topics here. Biden, progressives, the crazy GOP. It can be about whatever you want. Do we know when Jordan is coming back? Says Bren R. I think next month.
In a month, yeah.
Yeah, I think Jordan's coming back in January. Do we know when Jordan is coming back? All the other hosts have been great. Thank you so much for that, Bren R. It's been awesome being here more than usual.
Exactly. We'll still have our show on Thursday, so everybody knows we're not disappearing.
Not to our knowledge. I mean, Jordan might come back and just be like, "I've really missed my time away. You're all done." But assuming that doesn't happen,
I'm assuming that doesn't happen. No, I'm pretty sure. I know that's not going to happen. So no, we'll still be doing Thursdays, and Right Wing Insanity will still be Thursday too. So.
Yeah. So Tina and I will still be hanging out on Thursdays, but I will not be seeing you guys as much. Although it's been a lot of fun. It's been a really fun time. So thank you for that. And the answer directly from Jordan, if anyone didn't see it, middle January, shooting for middle of January. So maybe earlier if he makes more progress on the Flint book, because Jordan recently made a person in collaboration with his wife. And he's making a book about Flint. I think he's just doing that solo. I don't know if his wife's helping out with that or not. But I think he's just flying solo on that one. But yeah, we're thinking middle January. Jordan will be back. So there you go. And fire off some questions, y'all. Tina, how was your holiday?
Pretty relaxing and uneventful. I have been so busy the last 3 months that I was kind of just really burnt out and enjoying doing nothing. I binge watched a show on Showtime called The Shy, or is it? I think it's pronounced Shy, about Chicago. Has anyone watched that? It's a really good show. Highly recommend.
It's cool. Is it drama, comedy?
It's a drama that is about South Side of Chicago. So it was good. I don't want to give any spoilers, but
no, it's just cool. Chicago.
There's some good drama in there. It follows the lives of all these individuals. Obviously, they're interwoven together. You've got some gangsters. You've got crooked politicians. You've got community activists. So it's all kinds of drama. Good stuff.
Is somebody doing yard work outside of your door?
Yeah, not across the street of my neighbors. Yes.
All right. Well, just the season. They're like, we gotta. I mean, it's 80 degrees right now. We better get this while we can. Right?
Without fail, we go live, and the gardener shows up. I swear to God.
I don't know why. I mean, why would you do yard work a couple days before rain's going to happen, though? For those of you who don't know this, in Southern California, because it never rains, when it does rain, it's actually amazing. When it does rain, for a week later, we look like Ireland. Because it never freaking rains here. So when it does, all the vegetation's like, holy shit, we didn't know this was a thing anymore. And they mutate. It grows instantly. It really is trippy. And we look like Ireland for a little bit. It's actually really cool looking. But yeah. So anyway, I don't know why you would do. I mean, you're just setting yourself up to have to do it again in a couple days.
Yeah.
doing yard work right before it rains.
I don't disagree. Hey, so Colin, are we calling? See what I did there? Colin, does the folks to Colin, do they need the app to download it? Can we give instructions on that?
Not yet. I'm still working to make sure it'll work. I'm doing a workaround right now, so I'll come back with you in just
busy
a bit,
Tina.
Hopefully.
Let him do his thing.
All right. Well, then I guess in the meantime, let's do questions in the chat. Then, yeah. Okay.
All right. So Henry says, as long as he doesn't fly solo on Making a Person, that didn't work out so well for Victor Frankenstein. Nice. And it did not work out so well for Victor Frankenstein at all. Beautiful book, though. Beautiful book. All
right. I'm going to open up the chat here.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry.
What are you watching a show?
I am watching the show on my phone.
You're just watching a show on your phone?
Yeah, I'm trying to get only the chat up here. So there we go.
Oh, I see what you're trying to do. Just mute the thing if you have to.
Yep, I just did. All right.
There's your guy doing. I felt like the guy doing yard work stopped for a second. Maybe he heard us.
No, he's still there.
Maybe he's like, oh shit, that guy's right. He's right. It's gonna rain in a few days. What am I doing? I'm just gonna have to do all of this again. Let's see here. Holly's on Colin. I never enjoyed Colin. Colin the app. Colin the person I'm quite fond of. But Colin the app, I don't know why. I think we should all just go back to Clubhouse. I know some people are still there. I thought Clubhouse was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. There's some trippy stuff on there. There's some horrifying stuff on Clubhouse. Is there? Oh yeah. You can go into rooms. So I was working on this script that involves like people on Wall Street, basically. I don't want to give too much away, but I was working on this script that involves like people who work on Wall Street. So I would like bounce around Clubhouse rooms to try to get like inspiration for it. And I would go to all these like business, finance, Wall Street rooms. I got into this one room. I don't know how they just let anybody in there, but I was in there. They were literally giving a how-to, and this was during lockdown. They were giving a how-to on how you can evict people during the pandemic.
Oh, that's so fucked.
Oh, it was evil. I mean, it was just evil incarnate, and just I'm like, wow, it was frightening. But yeah, there was all kinds of interesting stuff on COVID, to say the very least, or interesting stuff on Clubhouse. I called it COVID. I call Clubhouse COVID. Interesting stuff on Clubhouse during the lockdown of COVID.
It works. I mean, there
Clubhouse?
could be a COVID situation there where that is just as bad and maniacal and corporate driven. I mean, it wouldn't shock me. I can't get the chat to come up on here. I don't know. You'll have to read the questions, I guess.
Well, here's one. Who is more powerful, the parliamentarian, Bezos, Musk, or the CIA?
That's a good question. I'm saying the CIA. What are you going with?
You going with CIA top?
100%. 100%. No questions asked. CIA.
No, I feel like I can't. That would be. I don't want to give the same answer as you because I feel like that's sort of like depletes the discussion. But like, so I'll just go Bezos Musk because they can buy the CIA. So I'll go Bezos Musk.
I don't think they can buy the CIA. They can buy their own private army, but not necessarily.
Everyone has a price, Tina. They can buy the CIA. You don't think they can buy a couple people in the CIA?
I think there's too many like rogue elements out there. The CIA is its own freaking entity. I'm not even sure that the actual administration, government per se, is in control of everybody in the CIA.
Well, of course they're not. Of course they're not, because the CIA knows they're more powerful. But you know, the check's going to clear from Bezos or Musk, and they could buy some of the CIA. Maybe not all of it.
Maybe one.
Some's all they need. Some's all they need.
I don't know.
We're talking who has the most power. I would go
CIA.
with Bezos.
CIA.
All right. Well, we'll probably find out the hard way someday.
Yeah, neither's good. Let's be fair.
I think that's very fair. It's like, yeah, both are the worst. But like, yeah, I'm gonna go with. Well, I think that we are going towards the direction where like one of them is just gonna be emperor. And when that happens, I do think their power will exceed that of the CIA. But so no votes for the parliamentarian.
Forget the parliamentarian. That's
they won't. They'll remember when it's convenient.
I was just going to say that. That's just somebody they prop up for convenience, but they actually don't have any real power. That's their excuse, right? Biden's going to use that as an excuse, or whoever else is going to use that as an excuse. But a parliamentarian has no real power.
No. You just fire them when you want.
Yeah, 100%.
They got no power. They got no pull. But we'll see. I think. Well, that's actually a fun question. Here, this is one from Zaina. Did you guys hear about DeSantis dropping busloads of migrants off at Christmas Eve? I thought it was Abbott. I thought it was Texas.
No, that was the last. They had last time Abbott had sent some to Florida, and then from Florida they sent them up to Massachusetts, I believe it was, if I remember correctly.
That was the last time. This was Christmas
the last
Eve.
time.
Yeah, this was Christmas Eve.
I thought that was DeSantis.
I thought it was Abbott. I thought it was Texas.
To be fair, to be both of them again. It's pretty
totally. Well, and they could have been in cahoots. All right, so actually, some people in this chat are saying it was actually Abbott. It wasn't DeSantis.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure DeSantis wouldn't want to miss an opportunity, but the latest on Christmas Eve was Abbott because it was from Texas.
Okay.
I don't think the White House released. I mean, I'm sure they might have at this point, and I just haven't seen it because I didn't really look at the news much today. Because it's the day after frickin' Christmas. I got up and I hung out with the cat. And I went to the beach. Again, I'm sorry to everybody in sub-freezing temperatures, but yeah. And then I did this. So
he dropped these migrant kids off in 18-degree weather? That is criminal.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, even if it wasn't cold weather, it would still be criminal. But yeah, that makes it even worse.
No, but it makes it even worse. I mean, these kids could legitimately die. All right, so I'm seeing this now. Buses of migrants dropped outside VP Kamala Harris's home on Christmas Eve in frigid temperatures. Jesus. Part of my
and also, I mean,
wow.
Kamala Harris's home.
This is horrifying. You know what? I swear to God, the more far right Christians that claim to be Christian, I just want to say to them, have you read Christ's teachings? I don't follow Christ. I'm not a Christian. But if you do, and you're claiming to be a Christian, don't you think you should read what his teachings are? Because none of this is in alignment with his teachings. I swear to God, these Christian fascists are mind-boggling to me. How do they justify their lack of morality? How is this stunt considered moral in any true definition of that word?
Well, I mean, I can't really speak for them as someone who can't really relate to their dogma all that much. But I mean, I think they just they really pick and choose with what they abide by in that book. You know, that they really pick and choose the sections of the Bible that they take seriously, that they take literally, that they remember. It's very horrifying because if you actually read the Bible and if you actually read what Jesus taught, now I don't even know if I'm convinced. I'm not convinced the guy existed. I don't think we know for sure. I don't know if we ever will. But when you read those actual teachings, the only time he ever got mad was at capitalism. That's the only time he ever got angry. He was a pretty big lefty for all intents and purposes. Now there is a component of his teaching that kind of is like, hey, don't act out because don't worry about it. You're going to go to heaven, which kind of fits the narrative of, a lot of pretty much religion was made up by a bunch of rich people so that poor people wouldn't kill them, which I think is, I mean,
But that's a Christian notion, right? In Judaism, there is no heaven or afterlife, just to be clear.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're talking Christianity, right?
Okay. Yeah. But I'm saying not all religions are like that. So I think.
Right. Yeah. There's 3,000 religions, Tina. Let's do one at a time.
Right,
we started with the Christian.
If we're just about the Judaic religion, so to speak, right? So Muslim, Christian, Jewish, they're all basically based on the same kind of core book, right? Old Testament. But my thing is this, how is it that these hard right Christians, and wait, hang on. I got to stop for a second. And remember we were talking about Thomas Frank last week and some of his books. I actually, over the weekend, was starting to reread What's the Matter with Kansas, just because we had brought it up, and it's been a while since I picked that book up. And I, relating to the conversation we're having right now, he, in one of the opening chapters, I can't remember if it was the first or second, he's actually talking about how there was a time, like in the 1930s and 1930s, 1920s, whatnot, where the radical religious population in Kansas was actually very leftist, like anarchists almost. And it was unrecognizable as what a Christian radical would be, considering today's standard by which they're extremely right wing. So, and I've forgotten that he had talked about that aspect of the culture wars, right? How that shifted, how it effectively shifted from one side to the other. But it makes more sense to me that if you're going to be Christian, you would be a radical leftist, because if you look at Jesus Christ's life and his teaching, right? Breaking the bread, splitting the fish, eating with prostitutes, all of those things, none of them match anything that these right-wing Christians do or think. Like, it's mind-numbing to me.
Well, and yeah, absolutely. And some Christians are, actually. I mean, there's certainly some sects of Christianity that are incredibly radical and left wing, but
are there?
Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, they're out there. I mean, first of all, like Unitarians. Although they're kind of just like whatever you believe is okay, I think. like they're sort of just like you meet some Unitarians and they're like, well, I'm an atheist right now. I'm like, I thought, doesn't that disqualify you from, all right, whatever, do you? But Unitarians, something like Catholic social thought, which is not, kind of the regular Catholicism you hear about. It's like the service, lefty oriented thing that, of course, you never hear about them, and they have no money and no power. And I don't even think the Vatican acknowledges them. So, but they exist. Like, they're out there. It's a thing. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some other stuff that I'm forgetting, but for the most part, Christianity is a pretty right wing thing. And, I think it can really, as far as the contemporary United States is concerned, I mean, I think it can really be traced back to the evangelical movement that really gained, because that started out as an anti-war thing. But then, televangelism was on the rise, and it became
evangelicals, 100%.
Yeah,
I agree. That's the shift.
And then there was this certain I want to be able to do my thing. I mean, there's this really good documentary called The Power of Nightmares that really unpacks how the religious right came to the rise and how it relates to capitalism and basically Ayn Randian philosophy, where it's like, well, I want to do what I want to do, and I believe this, and this means that I can't have this, this, and this. So it became all about who are we excluding, because it's our right as an American to kind of pursue abundance, and that's what we're here to do. And that's kind of the era we're living in. It's completely backwards in so many ways.
I am saying it's beyond backwards. This is serious cognitive dissonance. It's like this. It's like the Christian right wants to embrace Jesus Christ and his principles, and they also want to embrace Ayn Rand and Ayn Rand's principles. And I mean, basic Ayn Rand principle is that moralism, right? Altruism is wrong and evil. So that is absolutely mutually exclusive to what Jesus Christ teaches. Like, these are two things that truly are. There's very few things that I will say are mutually exclusive. This is one of them. And yet this is what these folks are doing. I would actually love to hear from a lefty Christian, like, what their thoughts are on this, because it's really, like, it kind of bothers me. The other thing that bothers me is that I don't understand this idea that if you accept Christ, right, then all of your sins are gone, you're forgiven, you're going to heaven, right? That's the basic concept. What I don't understand about that is, so you're basically saying a serial killer who's done horrible things in his life, very hurtful, horrible things, he accepts Jesus Christ on his deathbed and he goes to heaven, he's fine. And then you have an atheist over here, or a Jewish person, or some other religious person over here that has lived a very, very good and moral life, that's been altruistic, that's cared for others, done the right things, and is being held to account for what they do in this life, right? That person you're saying is going to hell. How does this make sense?
Well, I mean, it doesn't really, and that's why I'm okay with the idea that if I'm wrong, I won't have to go to a place with a bunch of hypocritical serial killers. I mean, if that's what's in heaven, like I'll roll my dice on the other place. I'm like, I mean, I
Yeah.
say sometimes I like kind of joke around with my, with my more like religious believing, friends and people I know, and I'm just like, hey, look, if you're right. Or if I'm wrong, I go to hell. If you're wrong, like, nothing happens. So, you're
That's
you're
just
good.
Pascal's wager in a way.
I wanted to wait, there was one thing someone said before we kind of switch
Okay,
it up here and get to another question. Nadia said the Power of Nightmares was about the Bush administration's push to invade Iraq. No. Yes, it definitely deals with that, but at the beginning it goes into, like, if you watch the whole thing, like it really goes into like kind of the era of abundance that kind of started in the 50s, and then it kind of goes into the religious right. Like it basically connects all those things, and then it connects it to the neocon agenda, which kind of brought them to present day, because I think it was made around like 2004 or so. So yeah, it's a very interesting documentary, especially if you're kind of looking into like, oh, how did the religious right really rise in the United States? Like that's a good launch pad for you. So there you go. There we go. So let's see, what other questions do we have? I think we lost Colin for a second. Oh wait, Colin's back. Colin's back.
Okay, maybe he figured it out.
Yeah,
we had this problem.
Smash
with Colin
that like button. Smash it.
Not with Colin. Call in.
Well, I don't know if we'll go with call in the app or not. Like, we'll see, going forward. But folks, please do leave your questions. We need your questions to answer.
We do.
Yeah. So don't be shy.
Philosophical. I love a good philosophy debate, and so does Ron. So.
Well, you know what? The other thing that I meant to say, you mentioned how Ayn Rand and Christianity are very conflicting. The one religion that Ayn Rand did influence entirely? Church of Satan.
How?
Anton LaVey, who founded the Church of Satan, he said, my entire thing is just Ayn Rand. He literally said that. Because it's a tongue-in-cheek thing. I mean, there's some people who take it really literally.
It's tongue-in-cheek, but I don't see how that crosses. Like, really, that seems weird to me.
No, it's all about individualism. That's what the church, if you read their stuff, like, that's what it's all about. It's all about, like, hey, do whatever you want, just don't fuck with me and don't piss me off. Like, that's basically like their principles. And he just goes, yeah, it's just Ayn Rand. He's like, I literally just made up a thing based on Ayn Rand. And I'd imagine he made some money. I mean, if you start a religion and it catches on, you make a bunch of freaking money. That's why, like I think Scientology was a bet, wasn't it? Like wasn't it like L. Ron? I think it was. I think L. Ron Hubbard made a bet at one point, and like it was just like, I bet you could start a religion, and he did.
Yeah, it's people they can get sucked into things, going down rabbit holes, and it's not just with religions, right? I would say a lot of the Trump following is very cult-like too. QAnon, obviously. I think it's easy for the human psyche to just get sucked into rabbit holes for some reason.
Why is that, do you think?
Don't know. It's why we should be teaching logic and all kinds of other things to our children, in my opinion.
Well, I agree. I mean, I think it's because, I think as a human species, we really do have a natural desire for community. We have a natural desire for...
I agree. I think that's default. I don't think human beings are self-serving agents as a default. I don't believe that at all. I believe more in kin theory. Like, I do think community is much more appropriate, because your chances of successful living, survival, whatever, is higher in a community than it is on your own. So I agree with you there.
Well, yeah. I mean, we decided that a long time ago as a species when we came down from the trees and decided to hunt together, right?
And there are plenty of people that would disagree with you and say we're self-serving agents. I would say that's probably modern theory in that capacity is probably more popular. But
That
I
we're
agree with
not
you.
that we're completely individualists.
That we're
That's
self-serving agents.
But you could, well, it depends on the absolute you're speaking because it's like it's okay to be an individual in the herd as long as you still remember that you have an obligation to the herd,
Right.
right? Like you can still like there's nothing wrong, like thinking for yourself is a good thing and asking questions is a good thing and sometimes just like taking a breather is a good thing. But you still are part of a species that is better off living in a community than dying alone. I mean, like there's just years and years of evidence that supports that. Even
Oh, I
down to
agree.
like the shape of our frickin' teeth. Like we're meant to be like we're meant to be gatherers. We're meant to be communal. Like we're not just we're not like just hunting. We're not like the T-Rex just alone. You know what I mean? Like we're literally not. And so yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
Despo's Fleisch, what's up? How are you? Let's get Despo's Fleisch up here. Are any news on the union wars? Man, which one? There are
Yeah,
so many. I think the railroad strike is sort of in limbo right now. I mean, they didn't nothing there wasn't a strike before the holidays. Will they still strike? I think at this point it's very, very unlikely.
yeah.
But there have been some grumblings that something might still happen. It's really tough to say. I would be very surprised, but I suppose you can't say impossible. Um, as far as other union efforts, I know that Starbucks is still going. I know that Amazon is still doing their thing. You're starting to see
Starbucks.
some action. Yeah, Starbucks. You're starting to see some action at Trader Joe's. You're starting to see some action at all the what's the medieval restaurant? I talked about it a lot. The medieval times.
Is that
Those
a chain? The one
Yeah,
in Orange County? Okay, I didn't
medieval
realize
times is
that.
a change. Yeah, and they're like it's horrible what they're doing to people. So there's a big union effort going on there. There's the stripper strike that has gone national. And they're trying for like a huge union effort there that started right near both of us in North Hollywood.
Yep.
So I mean, Boots Riley tweeted this recently. There has been more union and strike activity than there has been in the past 80 years.
That's true.
That's a reason for optimism. But it's also showing you how far we have to go, and I think it's also showing us how deep the hole was that society had dug. Because
Yeah.
it's like you're still seeing the biggest push we've seen in 80 years, and we're still, so far from a more equitable society because
Yeah.
we were just that far gone. And it got to the
Yeah.
point where people literally could not survive working an honest job for 40 hours a week. And they were having to work 2, and then that wasn't enough. They were having to work 3, and that wasn't enough. And, the backs started to break. Although we're also seeing a rise in child labor. That is literally happening. I mean, the direction we're heading in now, we'll still see full-on child labor come back before we see living wages. So I hope that this continues because we just got a long way to recovery.
Yeah. So I think Trader Joe's in Louisville is the latest that passed. That was 6 days ago, 5 days ago. Where
Did
they
they vote?
unionized. Yeah.
Nice.
Let me look up the day. Yeah, the 20th. So 6 days ago. So yeah, no, I mean the unions are definitely making a comeback. It's a good thing. The UC recently had their strike as well. This year we had IATSE. I mean, we've had what's the latest on Kroger's and Albertson? Do you know? Have you been following tabs on that?
Well, I mean, it's just they're supposed to be completely finished, like the ink will be dry by 2024. So there's still some time for some actual enforcement to stop this, but there's no inkling that it will be stopped. I mean, I know that Amy Klobuchar had some strongly worded things to say, but talk is cheap. The one kind of sign, I don't want to say like the one potential sign that okay they might stop this merger is that I think it was actually a Republican But somebody during the hearing said, you guys have failed to show us why this merger is in any way necessary other than just giving you a fuck ton of power. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing what was actually said, but that's the gist of what was said.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we'll see. I mean, there's still a little bit of time. Something could happen, but yeah. So, there you go.
There you go. No, we should definitely try to get that to stop. More power for these grocery stores, grocery retailers, is going to be bad. I mean, we've had nothing but labor issues, and they have a union, right? So, remember 2 years ago they closed 3 stores because they didn't want to pay the extra pay for COVID, which is just ridiculous.
It's so
criminal. They retaliated. So there was a big union strike in front of the store. They ended up backing off from that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to give them way more power to wield against the unions that already exist in that world. So that would be bad.
So Chris, what's up? How's it going, Chris? Chris says, thanks, Ron and Tina, for some great reporting these last few months. Much respect and gratitude. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris, for supporting this show. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. And yeah, thank you so much for all your report and the kind words. We appreciate it very, very much. Brian, I don't know if I can help you here, but what's up with MMS phone messages not getting through to SMS phones? I know part of the answer is profits over any problems caused. I think some of it has to do with Androids and Apple products. Well, I think some of it has to do with Apple products in particular. They really want to monopolize what software works on their devices because they want you to only use their stuff. I'm not an expert in this field, but I think that probably has something to do with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Ariana, what's up? What's the requirements for getting your question answered? Just ask it. No requirements. If you can leave a super chat, that's very greatly appreciated. That helps keep the show on the air. But not required. I know the holidays just happened. Times are tough. I get it. If you can, great. If you can't, that's okay. And Colin will just filter the questions the absolute best he can. Nadia, what's up? What's going on with the long COVID crisis? Has that been getting suppressed, like e.g. stuff about Nazis in the Ukraine? I think they definitely aren't talking about long COVID much.
No, and it's increasing.
So many unknowns.
There's so many unknowns, and you know what really gets me is the only reason we know that it's increasing is because scientists are testing wastewater to see if there's shedding a virus that's ending up in the wastewater. That is the only way we can keep track of it at this point is that way, because the government's not doing anything about it. We are definitely still in a pandemic, not an endemic. And as far as help for long COVID, John Hopkins has a really long wait to get in there, and we still really don't know what the long-term effects for this is going to be. And it's not getting any attention. I mean, really, Walker Bragman is the only person I know doing any deep reporting on this anymore. It's really sad that we've all just decided we weren't going to pay attention. Part of it is that people are fatigued, and I understand that, but it still exists. It's still a problem.
Well, I think people are
still getting sick. Yeah, people are still getting sick, so be careful.
I think people are wanting to just go back to, quote unquote normal so bad that they're kind of forgetting. It's like, no, there's still a lot of unknowns with this thing. It's still mutating very quickly, which, and long COVID, there's still so much stuff that we just don't know. Like exactly. This is depleting T cells. How significant? How much? We don't really know yet. What causes it? We don't know yet. In a lot of cases, for some people, it does eventually go away. For others, it still freaking hasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just, I have seen, and again, like this is just going by like just stuff that I've read in passing. There's a couple scientists who I do follow. I did see one report that they were noticing a trend in the blood of people that were suffering from long COVID and in the way that blood was flowing. So they were thinking that because there's that commonality, if they can basically figure out the right formula to reverse that, that could be what gets long COVID under control. I don't know if they're in a further testing phase or not. I have no clue. Again,
Well,
we're just going by like one article, but they at least found some common connector there. And probably we might get in trouble just for talking about this. But
no, I think that's POTS. That's one of the things that Hopkins has been looking at, this thing called POTS, and it has to do with blood circulation. So apparently all the blood starts to accumulate. This is my understanding of it. I'm not a scientist, but it starts to accumulate in your feet or further down in your body, and so it goes down and it has a hard time circulating back up, which is what causes fatigue.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, this conversation is for entertainment purposes only, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor. Yeah,
we're not doctors. We're not scientists. We are not giving medical advice. We are not qualified to do so.
We should maybe reach out and see if we can find a doctor that works in this area, because it is an interesting discussion. But that's one of the things that they're looking at, this thing called POTS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I saw something about that, but yeah, I think they're also like, I mean, this is really dangerous for kids too. Like you're hearing about kids that it's like they're getting these lingering symptoms and it's causing them significant organ damage.
Right.
I mean, it's yeah. And we've just given up on any measures at all. Like it's like even just having an air filtration system. The most basic of preventative measures, even that is too much to ask. I mean,
I still wear my mask when I go indoors when I'm out.
So do I. I mean, and again, like it's like there are plenty of things we could be doing that would allow us to do better with this. And yeah, are they all kind of like a bit of an inconvenience? Well, of course. I mean, it's a pain in the ass to have like air filtration going all the time and to keep windows open if it's cold or whatever. And, no one loves wearing a mask. Of course, it's not fun. But you know what? Those are small things that can go a really long way. I mean, you can do all those things and still get it, of course. Yeah. But they certainly help a lot. And but instead, we just chose nothing. We just chose nothing, or we being the United States.
No, we chose our economy is what we chose.
We chose our economy. We chose let it rip in the name of economics. And that's what the CDC has done. That's what Fauci has done. That's what, I mean, it's like people try to make it out like Fauci's on the side of no, he's not. He has picked capitalism first time and time again. Ever since he said the quiet part out loud. And it's 5 days. Is that based on any science? No, we just want people to stay at work. He literally said that. He said it. I mean, it's unbelievable. And that's why that guy's life work is a miserable failure, because he put capitalism first and public health second. And we never talk about that. You know why? Because there's a lot of people who criticize that guy for the wrong reasons.
Exactly. For like being the anti-vaxxers criticize him, or the anti-maskers criticize him because they're in denial that COVID even exists. Yeah, I agree with you. So he gets criticized for all the wrong reasons from the group that's like in the denial, area. Like COVID isn't real. It didn't exist. Isn't whatever. Those folks. And then the real reasons that we should be criticizing him get kind of brushed under the table, because anybody that criticizes him feels like they're playing into the hands of these like post-truth guys over here. So it's a problem. I agree.
I don't shut up about it, though. I really do not shut up about it. I mean, I've had conversations with my more like kind of like center left, I guess we'll say, friends. And as soon as we bring up Fauci, they're like, whoa, what's going on? And then I'm like, no, hear me out. And then by the end of it, they're like, I didn't think about it that way, but yeah, you have a good point. Anyway, all right, let's get to, so Zana says she has long COVID and it's rough. Yeah, that sucks. That really sucks. I know some people that suffer through it.
I do too, yeah. I have a friend that's actually caught it twice, which is horrible. The first time they
people have got it multiple times, yeah.
The first time they had it was before we had vaccines, so that was really rough, much worse. But then caught it a second time, even though they were vaccinated. And it was mild enough. But here's the thing: even though now you're vaccinated and you have mild symptoms, you're still going to have lasting effects from having the virus. I mean, it's going to be dormant in your body, I would imagine. So
let's go to Ariana's thing. This is a fun one. This is a good question, Ariana. Which, by the way, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all the support you give to the show. We appreciate it a lot. Okay, question. What do you think is the best way to help convince liberals that the current economic system is hurting us? Like if they see there are issues, but still support liberal corporate Dems? That's an awesome question. That's a really cool question. I don't know.
You
Tina,
want to go first? All right. Here's the thing. I think most liberal Democrats actually do recognize the problem. If you sit them down and have a conversation with them, they're gonna not be able to deny the facts that income inequality is untenable. It's increasing. That privatization has definitely brought about bad changes for the working class and the poor classes. Go down the list. All the things that we can diagnose as being problematic as when it comes to economics and whatnot is really clear. The problem is there's a disconnect between that and what they want to do about it, right? They're still not willing to accede that neoliberalism is bad, raw capitalism is bad, and that maybe we need to do something about that. Maybe we need to tax the rich. Maybe we need to tax corporations more. Maybe we need to get rid of things like carried interest. Maybe we should, Glass-Steagall was a bad idea. Like all of these things that brought us to the place that we are now, overturning rent control. I mean, I could go down the list, right? The problem is there's a disconnect with them understanding that those are the problems. And if we want to actually come up with real life solutions, we have to do something about fixing those things. They still think that they can use free market fundamentalism to bring about some sort of cure for the mess that free market fundamentalism has created. It's insane. So
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish your answer. I thought you were done.
I was just going to say that's the first thing that I think is problematic, is that they still don't seem to understand that the only way to really correct these problems is to not let unfettered capitalism run its course. So having said that, it's like a lot of these guys have morphed in, like I call them neoists at this point, because neoliberals, neoconservatives, when it comes to the same economic beliefs, they share them. They're the same, right? And so, trying to redirect that energy into like a conversation about why privatization is failing us. Like if they say like, well, no, we just need to, maybe add some more regulations. Well, then you say to them, okay, so add more regulations, but how do we do that when the people that are in charge of our regulatory agencies are all ex-company people? Like there's a revolving door that exists now between the company and the regulator and back and forth. So no real regulation is happening, and they're not going to enforce the laws that are currently on the books. I mean, look at the SEC. The SEC could be doing more, right? The laws do exist. They just choose not to enforce them. So point being is like you'll end up going, and I've done this multiple times, like you end up having a course of conversations where it just loops back. And maybe they might finally get to the place and be like, okay, I hear all of that, but they'll end up in the place where it's like Nancy Pelosi. We're capitalists. That's just the way it is.
Right.
So,
well, I think it depends on the person too. I mean, when you say liberals, if you mean like the Democratic establishment, meaning like the DNC, the people who really control that party, I mean, yeah, they are just like they're right wingers. Like their ideology is totally right wing. It's just not quite, the neo-fascist Republicans, but they're very much like they're laissez-faire capitalists, and that's
they're
what they
laissez-faire,
are.
yeah, 100%.
And so, but if you're talking, and I think Ariana's question, I'm assuming it means more like just regular people, like just regular people who, they vote Democrat and don't really question it because they're given two choices, a Democrat or a Republican. Right. And they're like, I'm a working person. I think these guys are supposed to have my back, even though they don't, And so I think as far as winning over those types of people, like those folks, I think a lot of it has to do with meeting them where they're at, and just unpacking some things. I mean, I have some more liberal leaning friends of mine. I've changed their mind about Assange. The only stuff they had heard about Assange was, the bullshit corporate media narrative about him. And I kind of just knocked that over for them. And I'm like, hey, this is all bullshit. And by the time our conversation was over, they switched their tune about Assange. They're just like, yeah, Assange needs to be free. So I think it's just, and you can do the same for the topic of universal health care, for the topic of capitalism. I'd start small. I wouldn't go straight to capitalism, but, like start with. So I think that's what it comes down to. I think like meeting people where they are. Don't like shame them if they're not aware of a perspective that you're aware of. don't wag their finger. Don't wag your finger if they haven't read the same books that you have, or if they haven't, watched the same YouTube shows as you have. Just kind of meet them where they're at and just, give them your perspective. You don't need to sugarcoat it, but, bring it from the perspective of where they're at. And I think you might be surprised that you might be able to convince some people on some things. Maybe not everything.
I agree. I would
somewhere.
say, Ron, the amount of like hardcore, I'm blue no matter who Democratic Party folks is a minimal amount of people. It's not even 50%.
I think so too.
I would say it's not even 50% of registered Democrats. I think most do recognize what the problems are. But it brings me back. You brought up the DNC, and I think it brings me back to that, because the problem is half of the DNC, they're registered lobbyists, right? They're corporate lobbyists. That is their day jobs. Like, I have attended DNC meetings where I'm talking to them. They'll hand me their cards, and it'll be their lobbyist card, and it'll all say DNC member on it. So these two things, the problem, this right here is so key to like fixing the problem, because I think most of the voters recognize it and they do want change. Even the ones that are committed to free market capitalism, if you back them down enough, rounds of conversations, they will get to the point where they're like, yeah, 100%, I get it, you're right, because they're not stupid.
So guys, we're gonna wrap up here in a little bit, but we got a few more questions, and if you have one, please do leave it now. And also, Colin, can we do a poll? Is it too late? Can we do a poll, Colin?
Let's do a poll.
I think Colin might have quit. Yeah. Oh wait, no, he's here. Colin's here. Folks. So all right, we're gonna do a poll. Do you want to see Tina and myself debate on Thursday? Because I feel like this whole week's gonna be a little on the slower side. Do you want to see a debate between myself and Tina on Thursday?
And if so, what topic? So Ron and I agree on most things. It's in the nuanced differences that we disagree sometimes, and those are probably the best debates. Let's be honest.
All right, so let's give them a couple choices. Dem enter versus third party.
Okay.
The police, abolition or reform, and I don't know. We need one more, just so people have three choices. We could do ABBA or The Cure, but I don't know if I think that's a little niche. I don't know if everyone would be into that.
100% all in on ABBA.
I'm all in on The Cure. So all right, make that option 3. Make that option 3. I have a feeling that's not going to win, but that'll be option 3. It'll be ABBA or The Cure. I'm obviously The Cure. Tina's ABBA.
Although I love The Cure. I have the original Cure album on vinyl that I bought when I was like 12. I have both sides.
All right, so yeah, vote on that poll, please, because I feel like we'll definitely cover some regular stories on Thursday, but because this will be a slower week, it's a holiday week. We can do some kind of quirky things, and maybe we can have like a debate for a little bit. Des Bush Fleisch, thank you again for the super chat contribution. You help keep the show alive. I'm curious. We know many negative examples, but are there bigger corporations out there that act somewhat good / moral? No. Tina.
No.
I mean, look.
The problem.
The short answer is no. The short answer is no.
The short answer is absolutely not no. Corporations are set up to do one thing, and that one thing they do quite well and effectively, and that is pursue profits. And they will do that at the expense of everything else. If corporations are people, think of corporations as being psychopaths, right? They have psychopathy, no empathy, no, caring for anybody, none of that stuff. So no, they're not set up to do that. And it is something we need to sort of get to the place with as a society and realize that raw capitalism isn't good. It is very problematic and it's very harmful. There's a reason that Scandinavian countries, for example, have happier folks and healthier folks, right? Because they do put limitations on a free market system. Free markets, the idea that the free market is a moral arbiter is just a ridiculous notion. It just is. Superficially, deeply, and every level, it's ridiculous. That's not true. And the problem is both parties have embraced that ideology and it's spread out from there, but, that's where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is there a little bit okay, is a Costco better behaved than a Walmart? Yeah,
Yeah.
Costco's better than Walmart. But are they both?
I agree with that.
Would I say any of them are good? Absolutely freaking not. Do I think that our entire world will be way better off without them? Yes. And there really is no like whataboutism there. Like it's just like they are set up for profit and privatization above all else, and they consider everything a tool for them to exploit. They consider their employees a tool to be exploited. Right. They consider the environment a tool for them to be exploited.
They consider the government
a tool for them to be exploited. That's why they all have pretty much F ratings from all environmental agencies. Are there degrees of bad? Yes. Somewhere like a Little Caesars, a Costco, they are of the lesser degree of bad. Yeah, and they are better, comparatively speaking, than a Walmart or a Starbucks. I would say this.
A lot of the better run corporations, like a Costco, for example, the reason they are better run is because they have CEOs that have a more long-term outlook or long-term view on the world than a short-term view. And those CEOs realize that there is a benefit to the company to have employees making a decent wage, to not have to have a lot of turnover in your employees and training and stuff. So they have a more long-term idea of what growth should look like, but they're still looking at profit and growth.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, their intentions may only be so genuine, but yeah, I mean, they're still bad. They're just not. They're not as bad. Like they're slightly less, I don't mind.
Follow me on this. I wouldn't even look at any of these things in terms of good versus evil. I just don't think it even, I don't think it matters, right? I think what we need to recognize is that this is how this is designed. This is the way it was set up, and it's doing what it was set up to do, right? So the question for society is what do we do to balance out these two things, right? We've accepted this as a form of economics, but does it have to be our form of governance? Meaning, do we not have checks and balances to this free market system? Well, yes, we should. We should have robust social nets. We should have regulations that prevent these corporations from going too far, making them have liability for the things that they do when they do something wrong. So, yeah. The problem is that they have bond paid for our government. The government, as you were saying, is a tool for the corporation, and it's caused all kinds of problems because nothing's checking their power at this point, and they're doing
right. But that's what capitalism does every time.
100%.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like eventually you have to go oh, we keep putting these sheep in with the wolf, and the wolf eats the sheep every freaking time. Exactly. How do we tried asking the wolf nicely. We try at the end of the day, it's like you just have to separate the sheep from the wolf. Capitalism and humanity are conflicting ideas. Sorry, they just are. They can't work.
And so, and we could even talk about Adam Smith. The right-wing libertarians like to say that Adam Smith is the, godfather of capitalism, which is just not true. It's just not true. We should save that discussion maybe for another day.
That's a discussion for another day. But yeah, if you've actually read all of Wealth of Nations, you will be like, oh shit. They really cherry picked this guy. They really cherry picked him and took a lot of stuff out of context.
And misread.
All right, we gotta.
Is entirely misread. It isn't this free market thing, right?
All right, let's.
All right, sorry.
We can't dive into all this right now, Tina. Here's a better question, or not a better question. Here's a fun one. I mean, I want to know who does Tina's hair. I do.
Really?
Yeah.
I do, I guess.
Do you really?
I am the most low-key girl you will ever meet. I'm not really into hair and makeup and all that kind of shit. Yeah.
Do you do your own hair?
Yeah, in 10 minutes flat.
Good for you. You don't go to you don't get your hair cut or anything. You do it. Wow. Man, good for you. I tried cutting my own hair one time years ago, and it was a freaking disaster. I had to get a buzz.
Try my little bangs every now and then. That's about it.
All power to you. That's pretty cool.
I am the lowest maintenance girl on the planet.
So there's Tina's answer. There's Tina's answer. Nadia points out that WAPO just ran a story saying mass long COVID disability threatens the economy. Well, I guess that's the only way people will care.
No,
which, by the way, interestingly enough, they are right.
They are right, but it's that thing that I'm talking about, the Costco CEO versus the other CEO, right? The Costco CEO is looking at long-term costs of things, whereas this other CEO isn't, right? There's still a profit motivation to be had there. So yeah, long-term effects are very different from the short-term ones. And the trend has been with Wall Street to look at short-term gains, right? They're each quarter trying to up the ante so that they get, their stock price to keep escalating. So, which is why you're seeing all of these stock buybacks now. They're running out of tricks to pull out of the rabbit hat. The rabbit, how's that expression go?
Yeah.
Whatever. You got me. So they're running out of those things, but that's part and parcel to the problem, right?
Despos Fleisch, I'm curious. We know. Oh wait, no, we already did that one. What do you think of Joe Sam? This is from Alex. What's up, Alex? How are you, buddy? Happy Monday. What do you think of Joe Sandberg running in 2024? Don't know much about him, to tell you the truth.
He's the environmentalist, right? That is married to Claire from the Bernie Sanders campaign. Is that the Joe Sandberg you're talking about? Am I wrong?
He's I know the name, but so he's an American entrepreneur. He's the founder of Aspiration Inc., an online banking and investment firm. And he was an early investor in Blue Apron. Look, I don't know a whole lot about the guy. Let's see.
If that is the Joe you're talking about, he lives here in LA and I've met him. I didn't know that he was looking to run for office, though. That's interesting.
He wants to raise the minimum wage to $18 an hour. I think it should be higher, but I mean, at least we're starting somewhere. But I don't know a whole lot about the guy. I can speak kind of generally here. I think that if you have a lot of means, i.e. you're a billionaire or close to it, or you have, just a lot of resources, a big nonprofit or whatever, if you really want to do something to help the environment, running for president is a huge waste of your time. If you have those kind of resources, you really want to do something to help the environment, running for president is a huge waste of the resources you have, because the chances of you winning are slim to none. And you're basically wasting everyone's time and batteries when you actually could be doing something productive with all that money you have that would actually help the environment. So that's my take on it. But I don't know enough about him, so that's more like a thematic answer. Alex goes on to ask, what's up, Alex? Are you all aware of the Don't Run Joe petition effort? It's led by a group called Roots Action. They're running TV ads in early primary states. Yes, I have heard of that. I think we talked about it on Status Coup as well. I'm pretty sure. If Joe Biden wants to run, he's going to. If he chooses not to, they're just going to anoint someone else and shove them down our throat. So I'm not super enthusiastic about 2024. I'm just not. Yeah.
I share your sentiment. I think that's about right.
Yeah, it's a bummer, but the truth of the matter, and again, look, there's plenty of things Bernie has done, especially, in recent years, that have pissed me off to no end. But at the end of the day, that was a once in a generation opportunity, and we didn't get it.
I agree.
We were cheated. We were cheated twice, but I don't know when we're going to get another chance like that. I'm not trying to be like black pill here or whatever that phrase is, but if I'm being real, we might not get another chance like that in any of our lifetimes. Could be wrong. Hope I'm wrong, but I have a feeling we might not. So we'll see.
I like this question. Who would you prefer to do mushrooms with? Bernie, Pete Buttigieg, Marjorie Taylor Greene, or name your real housewife?
Bernie.
100% Bernie. Okay, so
what is name your real housewife? Is that a thing?
Either it's the show Real Housewives or it's your actual housewife. Are you married?
Okay.
You're married.
I'm married. I do not have a housewife. I have a wife. You tried to get me in trouble? What the hell was that?
No, I adore your wife.
Your housewife, right? Well, hold on. I do not have. I have a wife. No, I guess if that's what he meant, then I would pick my wife. I want to do shrooms with my wife.
I have never actually taken shrooms before, so...
Then I want to do shrooms with you, because that'll be freaking hilarious. You never done it before?
No, and I'd like to try it once. It sounds like it would be fun, but it would 100% have to be Bernie. And you.
I have a stash I've been saving for a rainy day, so you'll have to come out to the South Bay one of these times.
All right.
Yeah. I actually have had some for a while that I have been saving. Not for a literal rainy day. I'd actually prefer sunshine, but yeah, it just hasn't. There's been a couple situations where we were like, should we? Like my wife and I, and then we're just like, nah. But yeah, out of those options, I'm assuming the housewife thing is like a TV show or something. Out of those options, I would take Bernie. Bernie would be fun, and also some people are kind of.
Marjorie Taylor Greene would be like a fucking nightmare. Like no.
She wouldn't be able to handle her shit. I mean, that's just something because you know what, she can't handle the internet. All right, so she can't handle shrooms. I promise you. And Pete Buttigieg would just be annoying as fuck. He would be worried we'd get caught the whole time. Bernie would be a fucking king, man. Because if I had to bet which one of them has taken shrooms before, I would bet Bernie 100 times out of 100. I bet you Bernie has. So yeah, Bernie through and through. Bernie 100% of the time. He'd have a fun trip. He'd be like, I touched John Lennon. You're like, yeah, you did, Bernie. That was a fun trip, buddy. Yeah. So anyway, that's my pick. This is all right. We'll do a couple more here, and then we got to go. Also, real quick, I will let everyone know where you can see me coming up here. January 7th, I will be in San Diego, California. That's kicking off the new year, folks, and it's a free show. So if you're broke from New Year's Eve, there's a free show January 7th in San Diego. Go to ronplacone.com for tickets. January 28th, Tucson, Arizona. The promo code Lucy is working again, by the way. Thank you, person who brought that to my attention. I got an email. The promo code was like not working for a brief period of time. It has since been fixed. So get your tickets now. It's still for a limited time. So grab them now. Tucson, Arizona. That's a stand-up show and the premiere screening of my short film Loner. I worked really hard on that film. Can't wait for y'all to see it. ronplacone.com for tickets. And February 10th, April 14th, and May 12th, I'll be doing a string of shows at the Glendale Room in Los Angeles. Tickets and all information at ronplacone.com. All right. This is a fun one. Ariana says, important question. How important is voting with your dollar versus there is no ethical consumption under capitalism?
Oh,
I don't think they're competing ideas.
I think voting with your dollar is more important. I'll argue that point, but go.
I don't think they're competing ideas. Look, the way I like to put it, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, but that's not an excuse to not try your best. That's the way I like to look at it.
The reality is you have to buy stuff. You're going to have to consume stuff. That's just, give me a break. Of course you have to. That's just what you need to do to live, right? To have a life. So, yeah, but where you choose to spend that money, I think does make a difference.
And do your best based on where you're at. You know, the person who lives in a rural area.
There's crappy choices. No two ways about it. Sometimes you only have one crappy choice. That's true too.
Sure. And like maybe the person who lives in a rural area, they really cannot avoid Amazon. It's just completely unavoidable. But guess what? They can grow food. They can do all these other things. Like there's things that they can do that me living in a place like Los Angeles, I can't do. But what can I do maybe it's easier for me to avoid Amazon than it is for them. So, you get the idea.
Also, let me say this, among the many conversations I've had with workers at these companies that are unionizing, several of them have mentioned to me that they don't want people to necessarily boycott these companies because it affects their job at the end of the day as well. They're like, no, support us in our unionization efforts. Don't necessarily boycott a company because I might lose my job because of that. So that is a valid perception, right? That is a valid argument to make. So I understand why somebody would say that. So there's a way to support a union effort within a company without boycotting the company per se. Maybe the answer is go ahead and shop on Amazon, but don't use Prime, right? Do you really need to have that Prime subscription? I don't have a Prime subscription. I order stuff on Amazon when I need to.
How would that help the union though?
I'm saying if they're saying to you, please don't boycott the company because I don't want the company to dry up and die. I want it to just unionize. I want my job. I like my job. I just want to get paid more. So
I just don't understand how Prime works is what I'm saying. I don't understand.
You pay, I don't even know what it is at this point, $160, $150 a year or something to have free delivery within a day or something. So if you just do traditional Amazon, you'll get your stuff in 2 days and it's still free if it's over $25.
So it would help them. No, I see what you're saying. I just don't understand all the intricacies of Amazon, I guess, because I do try my best to avoid it.
I'm not saying that's the only solution. I'm saying this conversation is coming to mind that I had with one of the workers, and I thought that this was a valid viewpoint. And I'm like, all right.
It is a valid viewpoint. the other side of that too, and again, like I don't want workers to lose their jobs, obviously, but 50% of all e-commerce goes through Amazon. So if you can avoid Amazon and go local, that's a good thing to do. If you can't, I mean, again, there's more to it.
It's yeah, I'm saying you're not an evil person if you're buying something off of necessarily. But I think it does matter where you spend your money. I try to spend my money at mom and pop shops more than corporations. I rarely go to chain restaurants, for example. I much prefer my mom and pop Mexican place.
Yeah, because they're better. Chain restaurants are kind of gross. Yeah. But again, for some people, that's their only choice. I'm not, like there's nothing wrong if that's, because it can be kind of classist to like criticize that. Like if for some people, they live in an area where that's the only restaurant they got.
More ungentrified areas are probably have fewer chain restaurants. Mainly, that's to me. It's always a sign that gentrification is happening. If all of a sudden a Starbucks shows up on the corner of somewhere that hasn't never had a Starbucks before, it's generally because they see that neighborhood as a potential gentrification neighborhood.
But rural areas are a completely different ballgame. Like rural America it might be the only thing is the strip mall. Like that's the only thing people can get to. Where your only option might be Fridays.
I think it's more likely that there's a mom and pop, but maybe I'm wrong. I'd be curious to hear more on that. I haven't been to every strip mall.
As somebody who has traveled 45 weeks a year, yes, you're wrong on that one. Like if you think you go to you see strip malls in the middle of nowhere, and you think you see a bunch of mom and pops, like generally that's not.
In my experience, it is, but okay.
Okay, all right. Well, I've driven all around this country for many years, and I can tell you a lot of times you see Starbucks, you see TGI Fridays, you see Applebee's, you see
Shake. If you're in the Midwest, you're going to see Cracker Barrel and Shake Shack, but generally you can. I don't know. Generally, I never had a hard time finding a mom.
If you're in a town, I mean, it depends on where you're at, but yeah, I mean, I would say if you're like. Stopping off on the highway.
If you're stopping off on the highway, that's the case everywhere because there's just always those franchisees by the gas stations. Yeah, that's different. I got you.
All right. Let's see here. We still got some stuff. Dave, shout out to Dave. The Cure all day long. ABBA is insufferable.
No! What do you mean?
Sorry, Tina, you lost.
Those are my people.
And Sasha, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you very much, Sasha Phone. Happy holidays. Nadia, how catastrophic will El Nino be? Will it cause a blue ocean event? Probably. So we got the results from the poll. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Dem enter versus third party. 54%.
Really?
Police abolition. Yeah, that's the winner. Police abolition or reform, 37%. ABBA versus The Cure, 8%. And it was just Dave. Dave voted for The Cure. Dave was for The Cure.
Nobody wants to take sides on that one. I'm telling you, they're both good bands.
Well, thank you guys so much for participating in our Q&A. We did this one. All right. So thank you for all the super chats. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. I don't want to forget anyone. We had Christopher, we had Alex, and we had Sasha with the super sticker, and we had Alex again, and we had, let's see here. I think that covers it.
So Thursday we're gonna do
That's Bush Fleisch. Yes, That's Bush Fleisch was coming in with a few. Yes, and then of course everybody with your questions and contributions. Thank you so much. You now know that Tina does her own hair like a champ, and So shout out to everyone who contributed. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for hanging out with us on a holiday Monday.
Yes,
if it's still the holiday. I don't know. There's Jordan in his person.
Oh, what a cutie. That little person is such a cutie. I could just die. Oh my God. She's so cute. She's so cute. So on Thursday, are we going to do let's do a half hour of each then? Dem enter third party. Although, see, Police
we have to do the news too. So we'll do we'll do a couple stories for about a half hour approximately,
Okay.
and then but it'll be slow. I mean, it's still going to be presumably, unless something insane happens, which I guess is possible. But
in this
assuming
world right now, it's very possible. I mean, has anyone caught what happened in France over the last week?
I know they had some protests. I don't know all the details.
A white supremacist shot 3 Kurds.
Wow. Okay.
And
was that what the protests were about?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Mainly because the guy, the shooter, had already threatened Kurds with a sword about 8 months earlier. So he was already problematic. He was let out. And this is what he did. So, yeah. Yeah.
All right. So, but Thursday we will do some stories, and then we'll do the third party versus Dem Enter debate. Tina will be Dem Enter. I will be third party.
But I don't have. All right. Okay, I can do that.
That's what you said. You said that last week. Because I was like, I think we'd be better off with a third party. And you said, well, I'm going to push back on that. And you made the case for Dem Enter. You're Dem Enter then.
I am not. I'm neither. I'm just saying I think it's absolutely unviable at this point to have a third party president. The way our system is set up is not viable. And this is somebody that has voted for third party candidates. I'm not saying I don't want a third party. I do, but I'm just saying realistically that's not the way the country's set up right now. But I can.
That's what we're going to debate. That's what we're going to debate.
But does that make me Dem Enter? I'm not a Democrat. Registered as I'm actually an independent.
I am too. We're both independents. That's fine. But yeah, we're going to talk about, overall is the better strategy to invest in third and alternative parties or try to change the Democratic Party.
All right.
You were making the case for Dem entering last week on the show.
I'm not. No, I wasn't though. I'm not saying Dem entering. I'm making the case for the fact that this is the way our political system is set up currently, and we would have to do lots of things to change it in order for a third party to be viable. And the best way to make those changes happen is to deal with the corruption inside the Democratic Party. I'm not going to argue
through the Democratic Party.
I 100% am not arguing that everybody needs to join the Democratic Party. I'm not arguing that at all.
All right, that's fine. That doesn't have to be your position, but yeah, I mean, I think so loosely Dem Enter, quotation marks Dem Enter.
No.
It's a loose Dem Enter.
Is it?
Well, if you're saying we got to work within the Democratic Party, like you can't do that if nobody joins, right?
Yeah,
I am
not a member of the Democratic Party, and
neither am I.
And I say yes, we can. You can definitely do. You can do both things. Like I don't think you need to have a strategy that's mutually exclusive to another. I'm just saying. All right. Well, we'll save it for Thursday.
We'll save it because like there's a case to be made that would actually be a heavier lift, and that's kind of where I'm at.
How is that a heavier lift when there's no way to viably elect a third party? Okay,
that's what we're going to talk about on Thursday.
All right, people, place your bets. I don't know what the under over is on this one, but let's do it.
The under over is democracy.
I'm feeling like I'm having a debate bro moment over here.
Well,
debate bro.
Well, I gotta say, if it's anything like your ABBA versus The Cure, you're not going to have the people on your side. And I didn't say a word, but everybody is loving The Cure in the chat, Tina. Sorry.
I love The Cure. What are you talking about?
Now, there you go with your both sidesing again. You can't.
Why not? Oh my God, Primary is like my favorite album of all time. But collectively speaking, ABBA is my people. I grew up listening to ABBA. I love ABBA too.
That's fine. So if
why
you had
can't
to choose,
I love them both?
You would
why
be on
not
Team
both?
ABBA. Well, that sort of defeats the purpose of a debate now, doesn't it? So.
Okay.
I think we covered it. So Thursday we will have a working within the Democratic Party versus third parties. Not necessarily that you have to exclusively be one or the other, but what would kind of be the most productive use of energy for true progressive change. Cases can be made for each, and we're gonna debate that out while listening to The Cure.
Sounds good to me.
Mr. Spock gave a shout out to the Cramps, which
the Cramps.
well, they're experiencing really nice resurgence right now because
Are they really?
Because of the Wednesday. Did you watch Wednesday?
No.
You should.
Is the Cramps okay?
Really
So
good.
I saw the Cramps during the 80s when I was a teenager.
That's
here in
bad.
LA.
I never got to see them, and he died a while ago. He died some years ago. I forget it's a husband and wife actually. The Cramps.
Yeah.
But I forget his name. But he passed a while ago. So I don't think the Cramps are playing at all anymore. But yeah, that'd be a cool. I bet they put on a good show.
Yeah, it was great.
I've seen the Blasters. I got to see them like right in.
I have not seen the Blasters.
They play all the time. They always play here. I mean, this is home for them, so they're But anyway, Wednesday, there's a very popular scene that went pretty viral where she does a dance to
and it's the Cramps.
And it's the Cramps. It's Goo Goo Muck, which is actually not originally their song. Yeah, not originally their tune, but they did the most famous cover. Right. And actually, Jenna Ortega is very interesting because she mentioned that the Cramps are one of her favorite bands, which is pretty badass. More recently, she mentioned that her favorite writer is a guy named Karl Marx. So she's an interesting actress. She is an interesting actress. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And she did a phenomenal job as Wednesday. I recommend that series for anyone who hasn't. It inspired me to revisit the Addams Family movies from the 90s, which revisiting those as an adult, you realize, I'm like, damn, there was some really good writing in these movies. A lot of the jokes when I was a kid, they went over my head because I was too young to get them. But as an adult, I'm like, oh, damn,
that's good. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. All right,
So,
people.
folks, thank you so much for being part of our Q&A. We had a lovely time. Tina and I will be debating on Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow. And it'll be a fun time. And Jordan will be returning in January. I don't know if it'll be right away in January or I think it might be middle.
Probably towards the end.
Jordan will be returning. There will be the return of Jordan. He'll have people making and book making thoughts. So we'll all get that. And in the meantime, do the shrooms if you got them. I mean, if you want. I mean, I'm not peer pressuring anybody, but yeah. If you are a member, discuss the show in the members Discord after. We have a Discord now. There's a Status Coup Discord. I actually should have known that, but didn't. How long has that been around?
2 years, I think. I'm in there. I don't spend a lot of time in there always, but I'll come in there every now and then.
I don't know if I'm in there. Well, I got to join up. But yeah, hop in the Discord, folks. Discuss the show. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. Thank you, everybody, for your super chats, for your questions, and for hanging out. I know it's like a holiday. So thanks you for taking some time to hang out with us. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
And yeah, support real journalism, statuscoup.com/join, romplacone.com for all my tour dates. And peace.